Everybody's kept their powder dry. We've been over the Forcella Valbona for the first time in the history of the Giro d'Italia. Over the mighty Monte Bondone, the most difficult climb of the day. And over the Passo Durone, but no action yet. Somebody has to challenge Joao Almeida because the days are running out. We'll have the Stelvio tomorrow, the Cima Coppi, and all of what is now going to be the most difficult mountain stage of this entire Giro d'Italia. On Saturday, the mayor of Briançon has said that he will not allow the Giro to pass through in his town in France. So it's very unlikely now we're going to have the Colle dell'Agnello. We'll have a reduced mountain stage on Saturday. It's tomorrow. The Giro d'Italia is in play, and somebody has to take the fight to the Koenig Quick-Step. And with 15 kilometres left, and the climb about to begin in just under 2K's time, Brian Smith, we're going to have two races today.
Yep, as expected, and instead of having 19 riders, we get 15 riders battling for the stage. I can only think Thomas de Gendt wants this rolling along just to make sure that the breakaway survives, because the gap is coming down under 6 minutes, and I don't think even if the GC battle happens, well, I know it will happen, it'll bring back you know, the 5 or 6 minutes advantage they've got on this final climb, because a lot of the riders in the breakaway have been riding quite cagily throughout the stage. Was a bit of action over the last kind of 20-30 kilometres. Now we get 15 riders going to battle it out on the final slopes here, potentially for the win. Victor de la Part in the orange, riding here for Zakarin in third place. Pernsteiner is probably the best climber in this group. He's up there in the general classification, but I think he's more interested in the stage win than anything else at the moment. Okay, by the gaps, he should be riding up in into the top 10, which I think Barry and McLaren will take. But I think they'll also take a potential stage win. But it does look as if the favourites for today include Einar Zakarin in the orange, and Pernsteiner for Barry and McLaren.
Zakarin, who took a stage win, didn't he, last year? Not for the first time at the Giro d'Italia. 5th place finisher overall previously too. Had to quit the Tour de France through injury, and he started in Italy looking for a first win in his new CCC colours, but he's already getting to last chance because, of course, we unfortunately know what's going to happen to the CCC team next year. The licence has been transferred to the Belgian team Circus Wanty, a team from Wallonia, actually, the French-speaking team. So, as well as the two Flemish teams we have, we're going to have a French-speaking Wallon team on the World Tour, 3 Belgian teams on the World Tour. But he's actually leaving the formation, and he's going to a Russian team, is Einar Zakarin. As we head into Pinzolo, we head there in the knowledge that his contract's safe for the next 2 years. He's going to Gazprom Rosvelo, and the peloton chasing on behind aren't going to threaten, we don't think, Zakarin or the other 14 riders for the stage win. What a ride this is by Ballerini. World Tour stage winner already in the sprint at the Tour of Poland. So close in the Giro d'Italia here, and all the work he's done for Joao Almeida. As I said a little earlier on in that crazy summing up of what's been a very strange year. Not just the real world things, the serious things that have been turned upside down, but the things we enjoy, the sporting things. Koenig Quick-Step looking after GC and not having won a stage yet. They're doing a very good job of it. And in 200 metres time, for the final time today, for the 4th time today, they'll begin the last block of climbing. 5,500 metres uphill today, over 203 kilometres on the road, starting in Bassano del Grappa and finishing at Madonna di Campiglio. Off we go. Final climb of the day, and it's one of these 15 riders who's going to take on the stage. Victor de la Parte is pulling things along here, the Basque climber. His teammate sits in third wheel, ready and primed. Cataldo's there with 2 teammates from Movistar as well. Dennis looking for a stage win. One of the few Ineos Grenadiers who haven't marched on to victory. Honkini represents Groupama FDJ. You have O'Connor, second yesterday, and Gebrek Zabier for NTT, looking to save their team. For Hooker, De Gent, Hansen, Pernsteiner, Rodriguez, Bouchard, and of course Carretero, Villela. What a lineup. On the climb to Madonna di Campiglio. 12.5 kilometers long, 5.7% of an average, and for the last 2.5 kilometers gets quite a lot easier. Most of the climbing done in the first 10 Ks. With 2.5 Ks to go, the biggest ramp you're going to get is 3.5%. If you want to distance your rivals, you've got to do it when you can. Maximum gradient of 9% comes after 9 Ks. It's a big ski resort up here. It's one of those roads that takes the big buses and the shed loads of tourists up there. And it's for the third time in the Giro d'Italia used in the most beautiful race in the world. And I think we're about to lose our first rider. One of the Movistar men going backwards. I can guess that it's going to be either Cataldo or Villela. Cataldo, I think, was doing the work, and here he is. In fact, it's Carretero.
He went off before. It's Cataldo was the rider drifting back, so all of a sudden we had the lower slopes. Carretero dropped even before we hit the bottom of the climb, and then Cataldo was getting dropped. But yeah, all going wrong, because we've already seen that Villela was in trouble earlier on, so having 4 riders in the original breakaway.
He was the man who had to make that effort, I would assume, without having a good close look at the riders. That would have been Villela, but Cataldo's gone. Villela, the only man left in the bunch, and Carretero, who I assume that they've been riding for, really, off early doors. Not good news for Movistar, and pressure on Davide Villela. Here is De Gent, and Dennis is on his wheel, the two most powerful in the group. Hansen's distanced as well, as is Bouchard. And this is the man we expected to be distanced, really, and De La Parte, who'd done a lot of work for Zakharin.
Yeah, he kind of set it up right at the bottom, doing a long turn for Zakharin. But yeah, we got a smaller group now. Thomas De Gent still interested in keeping the tempo high. Dennis sitting in second place, O'Connor, Gebrek Zabier, Franchini, and also I think it's Rodriguez at the back there. They were in the small 5-man group it came across, so they're kind of hanging in the back of this group.
Here is Jesper Hansen. I think we talked about him earlier in the Giro d'Italia, didn't we? He was a big domestic for Alberto Contador for a while. An important man, as Contador was in the pink jersey, remember, here at Madonna di Campiglio at the Giro d'Italia. Now then, time for action. Battle stations. Here comes Sunweb on the left-hand side, right as we look at it now. But this time we've got the addition of a new train. Look through the centre, and Filippo Ganna is getting ready to position his men. And the man they are riding for is 1 second off the podium. Theo Gegenhardt, as another man peels off. It's Sunweb, Ineos Grenadiers, the Koenig Quick-Step, the leaders, and Bahrain McLaren, the main men at the front. They're about to begin the climb. Let the battle commence. We'll remind you that it's a 17-second lead. Now, after those 2 extra seconds yesterday, Joao Almeida, 22 years of age, 14 days in the Maglia Rosa, looking to make it 15. Wilco Kelderman, second place for Team Sunweb at 17 seconds. His teammate Jai Hindley, is he going to have to throw away chances today? We will see. He's in third at 2:58. He's wearing the white Best Young Riders jersey today, looking after it for the Portuguese Almeida. And in fourth place, the Ineos Grenadiers now have Theo Gegenhardt, mountain stage winner the other day. That was at Piancavallo. He is at 2:59 from the lead, 1 second from the podium. In fifth place, Pello Bilbao at 3:12. That's why Bahrain McLaren are there in their orange jerseys. But don't forget about the likes of Vincenzo Nibali. Never count him out at 3 minutes 31, especially with the Stelvio to come tomorrow. At the front of the race, the battle rages on. And Thomas again looks like he's just losing a bit of ground. Oh, well. And Villela out the back. Movistar, they might have numbers, but they're not going to win the stage. What on earth's happened there, Brian?
I don't know. You put 4 riders in the breakaway of 19, and then we get 3 and 10, and unfortunately it just hasn't worked out. I think it was Carretero, the rider they were probably hoping to get something from, but unfortunately, such is life. If you don't have the legs, you can put as many numbers towards the front, you cannot deliver.
And the wait goes on all the way from the 1st of February 2020. Surely, even if they don't get something here, with their A team in the Vuelta, they have to do something there. We know that Enric Mas has started well, and there's their green bullet, Alejandro Valverde. Well, that doesn't work so well anymore, does it, now they've changed to blue? And play on words with his name. Now keep your eye on Pernsteiner at the back here. Franchini is staying in touch. Just look out for Lotto Soudal on the way they're riding this. NTT seem to be playing a fairly good game. Not really showing too many cards, and they've got those 2 riders. What's left for O'Connor after yesterday? And how fresh is Emmanuel Gebre-Xavier feeling? Lower slopes behind. 5:31 the gap, but I don't think we can concern ourselves too much with that for the moment. These are the vital stats of the climb they're on, as Thomas de Gendt makes a move. He's being chased by O'Connor. Dennis knows he has to make it as well. And I think we've seen this before, haven't we? Wherever Thomas de Gendt goes, Dennis is going to try and follow. And NTT, you talked about the numbers, Brian. Every move that goes, they've got to get 1 man in it, surely.
Yeah, I think it's a case of if you get the legs, you can follow. And Ben O'Connor already showed yesterday he's got some good legs, and you know, why not try again? And he's in the break first and foremost. And Thomas de Gendt, just he always does this. He always puts in a big effort after effort, and I don't think anybody knows how hard it is to try and follow Thomas de Gendt. But yeah, stop starts racing for the time being. Pernstein on the left-hand side, Zakarin, Gebre-Xavier is still there. Ron Dennis riding and climbing well, but I still think that Ben O'Connor could do another good result today.
Again, in terms of climbs, I think this is a really good climb for Rowan Dennis, and he's making his own move now. No silly gradients, great power climb for somebody like him, who is clearly on fantastic form. And Rowan Dennis, looking for his first Ineos Grenadiers win, is trying to shed the dead wood. He's followed by Zakarin, who looks good. He's followed by Pernsteiner, who's quite clearly the most talented climber in the group at the moment. And here comes Sunweb, starting to take it up. Jacopo Mosca riding up there for Vincenzo Nibali. He's running out of Mountain Domestiques. Mosca, a man for the flat. He's tried to step up, but how long, I'm not sure. And I think we're about to get the answer. That was Ganna who was done. And Sunweb have started. Well, Nibali, remember, he's already lost men in the climbs, hasn't he? Brambilla, Ciccone, Weining. He's got the baby shot, the Squaletto. Zakarin gives it another go. And the left jabs have certainly begun. Oscar Rodriguez. And Lotto Soudal are in trouble, because Harm Verhoeven is out and Ben O'Connor's going again. What form he had yesterday. Now then, is there a gap? Oh, for now there is. For now there is. And Ben O'Connor is opening up the first serious gap on the way to Madonna di Campiglio. Yesterday in second place. Fantastic form. And we talked about them staying up in Subiaco. They'll be dancing in the streets there tonight if he can pull this one off.
Well, if you fail once, you have to keep on trying, and that's what Ben O'Connor is trying to do. Good confidence from yesterday, disappointed at the end, and you know, trying to deliver this year's first stage for NTT, and it would be a brilliant stage win for the the young Australian.
Well, he could give future life to the team. All the PR they need from a victory. And Ben O'Connor is looking to take a huge step forward and a first ever Grand Tour stage win. He's looking brilliant there. Now the gap to the leaders. Dennis is still looking good, I think. Zakarin seems to be getting better by the day. Remember, Van Hooker dropped, so it was De Gent who was chasing, alongside Herman Pernsteiner. O'Connor still has 7.5 kilometers to ride. And this is Martijn Tusveld, who's riding at the front for Sunweb. He's a solid Dutch climber. Not the most well-known or heralded, but he's been there or thereabout in the team for a while. And I know they rate him. He did a good job the other day before Christopher Hamilton really put the hammer down. And after that, it was Sam Oomen. Following that, as Rowan Dennis starts to struggle. Remember, we had Hindley and Wilco Kelderman to the line. Dennis will ride to his numbers as well here. And Pozzo Vivo, with that bandaged up elbow and the style affected by that awful crash he had. And then the subsequent crash and the other subsequent crash in the Tour de France. He is a real warrior. Now De Gent. This boy has some form. He's a wonder to watch when he's like this, Brian.
He's just a powerhouse. He just doesn't know when to hold back. It's, you know, he puts it all in the line, and he's brilliant to watch. And by the looks of things, you know, this man here putting in an excellent ride back to back. Came up a little bit short yesterday, but you know, look at the faces of these riders here. Pernsteiner, Zakarin, even Thomas De Gent. They're all starting to suffer. So Tushfeld has already done his job, and now we see, now we've seen you know, a change at the front with Trek.
Trek sending Antonio Nibali to the front there. This is the back of the peloton in the meantime, and you're seeing Jonathan Castroviejo being dropped, and Theo Gegenhardt having to fend for himself.
Well, Antonio Nibali never really kind of lasted too long there. Done a bit of a turn, and Sunweb now coming to the front with some numbers.
Sam Oomen was at the front of their number there. Remember, Chris Hamilton should still be there as well. Jai Hindley. As it's 22 seconds now for Thomas De Gent. Pernsteiner on his wheel with Zakarin. This is Carretero being taken by Oomen, Hindley, Kelderman. So there is no Hamilton. The Malheiros after that. He still has Masnada and he still has Knox. And afterwards, Vincenzo Nibali with just one man alongside him. No look there, but hazarding a guess, could be Conchi or Bell now. Pozzo Vivo still behind. Unless, of course, it was Antonio Nibali who might have been pulled from the front by his brother. We shall see. We saw him briefly moving back, didn't we? Antonio Nibali, the baby shark. Lo squaletto. As we've seen in the last couple of years, doesn't quite have the sharp teeth of his big brother. So Ben O'Connor, how does he manage this? Because this isn't like yesterday where we have all sorts of different terrain and steep gradients. I imagine, Brian, as Pernsteiner now makes a move, that this is one to just keep driving on that power on.
That's all he has to do. Ride to the numbers, ride strong. You know, you can see that Pernsteiner was just kind of waiting. Now he's having to make a big effort to try and win the stage. And we talked about the difference in 24 hours. Yesterday, Jan Tratnik from Barry McLaren took the victory from Ben O'Connor. This could be Ben O'Connor's day, where you know, Pernsteiner, even if he makes it, he's moving up in the general classification. He would love to win the stage, but still 24 seconds to the flying Australian, and I think he can pull this one off.
I think he looks $1 million here, Brian. Just look at the way he's moving on the bike, driving the power through it. He looks really good, and he looks really comfortable, considering where we've been today and what he did yesterday. But he won't want to look in the rear-view mirror, because he did that yesterday. He got to the line, and there was an orange jersey just behind him, right on his wheel, stuck like glue. And as soon as that orange jersey attacked, it was over for O'Connor.
Yesterday, Ben O'Connor had to make a massive effort. Already today, Pernsteiner has made a massive effort to going across to the front group, so he'll pay for that. So I think odds on Ben O'Connor's going to do this one for NTT.
Well, he won at the start of the year in Bessèges, but this would be his biggest victory by far. 2019 was a year to forget, really, for Ben O'Connor. After all the promise of the year previous, that stage in the Tour of the Alps, then the Giro d'Italia. Crashed it for him there, remember. And here is Jai Hindley. It's really thinning out behind. Jai Hindley, Wilco Kelderman, Joao Almeida. The podium in reverse order. Then you have, in the navy jersey, Theo Gegenhardt. Joao Almeida's domestics are fighting just to hang on. Nibali is alone. Bilbao at the back here. Fulsang is there too. Micah, Conrad, almost down to the bare bones in the GC, Brian, as Thomas Against is third, leaving behind Ilnur Zakarin.
Yeah, the only rider I didn't catch there was Brandon McNulty. It'll be interesting to see where he is, but it looked like all the GC contenders, especially the top 10, were all there.
McNulty, remember, having that yo-yo few days, wasn't he? Went from 11th to 4th, and then 4th to 11th. The day before on the time trial, and then the day after it. Maybe left a lot on the road during the time trial, you think, there. Zigent can start to see Pernsteiner, and Pernsteiner, though, is now at 27 seconds. O'Connor is continuing to build his lead.
Yeah, Pernsteiner had to go deep there a little bit. He wanted to try and close the gap, and now starting to suffer a little bit, where Thomas de Gendt just does what he does every day, just rides at his limits. So 5 kilometres to go for this man here. Ben O'Connor second yesterday and looking to finish this Giro very strongly.
Let's have a look around. They're looking at each other. Almeida saying to Sunweb, you've got to challenge me. And now then, here we go. Here's the first move, and this is the card they're playing. Jai Hindley, third place overall. It's West Australia Day at the Giro d'Italia.
Well, it's a strange one there, because they took it up with Jai Hindley. And whether he just, swung over and, Kelderman was left to do it. Kelderman goes now because Masnada was just kind of leaving him out there. So this is big movement now from the GC contenders.
And this is where Joao Almeida has to turn up for work. Has to respond. And to the first attack, it's a big green tick in his box. Mission accomplished for now. First gap is closed. There's Pozzovivo at the back, who's just struggling to close the gap, but he was getting back on. And talking of gaps, Pernsteiner has suddenly turned on the motors. He was at 27, he's back to 22. Still 4.5 Ks to ride for Ben O'Connor. On the easier section of the climb here. He's still to get to the hardest point, that 9% gradient. But remember, in the last 2.5 Ks, it does level out a bit. And you imagine that would suit O'Connor over Pernsteiner.
Yeah, I think it would suit everybody. But they've not knocked it off here again. Masnada coming up in the left-hand side. They seem to be kind of cancelling each other out. A few days ago, we had Jai Hindley setting a tremendous pace, and Kelderman and Theo Gegenhardt were the only riders to follow. We've just seen an attack from Jai Hindley and then Kelderman, but all of a sudden, the GC contenders are fanned across the road.
Well, Joao Almeida getting angry. And you're right, Brian. Brandon McNulty missing from this group. Everybody else present and correct, it seems, in the top 10. Here is Fausto Masnada. And we are watching Thomas Against being caught once again by Ilnur Zakarin. That's group 3 on the road. This is group 2, a lone group. Hermann Pernsteiner at 22 seconds from the race leader, Ben O'Connor. The stage leader, I should say. And here he is. NTT looking for their first win at this Giro d'Italia. And a win that might save the team. Potential sponsors looking on. Hit the headlines yesterday, finishing second and blowing the race right up. Today they could be popping champagne corks at the top in the ski resort at Madonna di Campiglio. Masnada. What a signing he's been for the Koenig Quick-Step. So it's Masnada in the blue and whites, Almeida in the pink, Gegenhardt in the navy with the red stripe. After that you had Kelderman and then Nibali, followed by Hindley. In the group two, Conrad and Maika with Pozzovivo, Fulsang. And this is Ben O'Connor. And remember, the other member of that group behind, Pello Bilbao. They're at 5 minutes from Ben O'Connor.
He's in the big ring here, outside chain ring. So he's obviously got the strength. 24 seconds now.
Well, once he gets past this last little bit of nasty gradient, you can see 53.21 he's pedaling the ratio right now. Once he gets past here, Brian, the last 2.5 kilometres average 2.8%. If the gap's made, he's the man with the power over Pernsteiner. It's job done almost, isn't it?
Yeah, looking like it's, you know, Pernsteiner already having to make a big effort today with the bridge across with Thomas de Gent. On paper, probably one of the strongest climbers, but just starting to struggle a little bit now. He's just thinking of trying to maintain this pace. He looks more laboured than Ben O'Connor. Ben O'Connor looking a little bit more fluid.
Well, O'Connor did have the legs yesterday. We saw that, the way he closed the gap to Pernsteiner's teammate Tratnik. Tactically, I think he was outdone in the last couple of Ks. Less than 3 kilometres to ride for Ben O'Connor. Still only 24. Three career wins on his way to number 4. Which will be, without doubt, the biggest, most seismic of his career so far. Second yesterday, 2.5 Ks to hang on with a 24-second gap over Pernsteiner. 5 minutes down the mountain, this is the fight for pink. And we're not seeing too many blows landed yet.
But the thing is, they have to come over the next couple of kilometres, as you say. If they don't come over the next couple of kilometres, when we get into the final couple of kilometres where it does ease off a little bit in the gradient, you would think that Almeida looks fine, and another day in pink.
Number 15. He'll only be one from Vincenzo Nibali throughout his career. And he's a 2-time winner of the Giro. Of course, it counts when you get to Milan. Nibali will know that. The rest of the chasing group will know that, but is there anything left? Hindley's the man with his jersey open behind in the white jersey.
Now, if Kelderman is feeling really good here, Jai Hindley would be up either attacking or lifting the pace.
Pozzovivo. Conrad is the last man there. Maiko said he wasn't feeling well today. I think it's one day to get ticked off for him. And again, his terrain is tomorrow, isn't it? Those steeper climbs. Riding a solid enough Giro d'Italia, I think, Rafael Maika. As is Fausto Masnada. Pulling at the front for the Koenig Quick-Step. He himself in 10th overall. Well, Ben O'Connor, it's not happened for him with the GC. He lost time early on. He wasn't so well, actually, down in Sicily at the start in the race. He's certainly recovered now. He's got half a minute on Pernsteiner, and he is riding away I think even maybe to enjoy the last kilometre and 800 metres on the road. He knows surely that unless there is some disaster to befall him, he will be the winner of stage 17 of this 2020 Giro d'Italia. Messages flood in from those of you staying up into the evening watching in Australia. It's WA's big man at the front, Ben O'Connor. And NTT, he'll be getting some good vibes in the earpiece, will Pozzo Vivo. Looks as though they're going to take a stage in the race. It's been a while since they took a stage in the Giro d'Italia to memory. Fighting for their future. Is Ben O'Connor about to give them a lifeline? One kilometre to go, and from Bondi in the east across to Bunbury in the west, they will all be cheering for this man. Australia's Ben O'Connor will also be provoking quite a reaction in South Africa. NTT desperate to continue, searching for PR, and they're going to get the very best of it right here, because Ben O'Connor is going to be the latest of the legion of young riders making a name in 2020. Yesterday went out and fought up against a rider from Bahrain McLaren. He was done like a kipper in the last couple of kilometres tactically, but today he's gone out there once more. He's fought yet again, and from a break of 19, O'Connor, classy and very, very strong to the line. The finish in Madonna di Campiglio awaits Marco Pantani, Mikel Landa, Ben O'Connor. And from a breakaway, NTT looking for salvation. If at first you don't succeed, try again. Second 24 hours ago, on top of the world today, and on top of Madonna di Campiglio, Ben O'Connor is the winner of stage 17 of the Giro d'Italia from the breakaway. And it is the first stage win for NTT in 3 whole years coming to Italy. From Omar Fraile down in the centre of the country to Ben O'Connor up here in the north. What a ride it's been from Hermann Pernsteiner. Falling away the other day, but right back in the swing of things. He's getting big time in the GC today. Again, it's a 1-2 between NTT and Bahrain McLaren, but this time victory has gone for the superstar from Subi. Ben O'Connor from Subiaco in Perth takes the win. Thomas Agent, yet again winning fans. And if you weren't a Thomas Agent fan before today, what have you been watching for the last few years? Combative, consistent, incessant at the front of the race. It's another podium for him. Great ride from the man from Lotto Soudal. And Anil Zakarin, always one to give it a go from a breakaway. He's in fourth. And as O'Connor goes off to soak up the adulation, sign him up, somebody. And now the attention turns to his teammate Pozzo Vivo and the rest in the fight for the GC. Approaching the final kilometres. Kylian Franchini coming in almost 2 minutes down. Good ride from the Swiss. Another big day on the bike, almost 6 hours once again. Remember yesterday it was 6.5 hours on the bike and 4 hours on the bus. Long days at the Giro d'Italia. Tomorrow, the biggest climb. Cima Coppi will be ridden. We will have the Stelvio. The talk is, though, we will not have the Agnello on Saturday. With that in mind, who can steal seconds here or there? 2 kilometers to go. It's looking pretty good again for Joao Almeida to make it day 15 in Maglia Rosa, Brian.
Yeah, amazing, and you know, well deserved. The Iconic quick step of, you know, pretty much set the tempo all day, and Masnada has been there in a very difficult moment when Jai Hindley and Kelderman tried to attack. But I have to say that Almeida was up for it. You know, he was actually talking to Kelderman at the time, but super effort. Thought we'd see some fireworks, but it does look as if everybody's waiting for tomorrow now.
Rowan Dennis into this group. Can he do anything for Theo Geoghegan-Hart? That's the question. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure at this point that Geoghegan-Hart needs it, following the wheel of the Maglia Rosa. Dennis will try and hang on, and of course tomorrow he'll be required, I think, yet again to ride. Went in search of a stage here. Movi started, didn't they? Oh, 4 riders in the break, and they didn't get near. Not a good day for the telephone squad from Spain.
We'll have to wait and see if Almeida decides to sprint and try and get another 2-second gap at the finish here.
They all count to Milan, Brian. 1 kilometre to go, and here's Masnada to drag them in. More difficult terrain to try and gap anybody today. Only a 2% gradient, really. It is Masnada, Almeida, Geoghegan-Hart. Then Kelderman in the white. Jersey open is Hindley. Nibali's there, just on the wheel of the rider from Bora Hansgrohe's Comrade, who has his rider Micah in front, then Fulsang and Bilbao at the back with Pozzo Vivo. Nobody else there. And the meters tick by, and in GC terms, you have to say the stage has been a bit of a disappointment. No fireworks, nothing. Not even a Catherine wheel, Brian. Nothing doing at all. And they're going to sprint, though, for anything they can get. It's Micah at the front. Now Geoghegan-Hart on his wheel. Are there going to be gaps? Hindley having to close the gap to Geoghegan-Hart. Remember, 1 second would take Theo Geoghegan-Hart onto the podium. It's difficult to do it here, though, for a couple of metres to the line. You can see Micah still there. Geoghegan-Hart right on his wheel. No gaps opening up just yet, as Geoghegan-Hart's going to put in a dig, and he's being followed closely by Hindley. Geoghegan-Hart going to the line, trying for that 3rd place, but he's not going to get it. No gaps on the way in today. It's as we were going into the Stelvio. Ben O'Connor wins the stage. Joao Almeida keeps the Maglia Rosa. And for a 15th day, the Koenig Quick Step, from Classics team to well-oiled GC machine, are in charge of the Giro d'Italia. And it's a man from an Italian-founded town in Australia who's taken stage 17. Brilliant Ben O'Connor. Is it enough to save NTT? We don't know. My oh my, it should be enough to save his own career. This is a talented rider, and he's shown it on the slopes of some of the most mighty mountains in Italy. They've been coming and failing for a long time at this race. After Fraile comes O'Connor. And he would have enjoyed that. They've got a lot of staff who've been working with the team and coming here for years, Brian. Bus drivers, mechanics, carers, soigneurs, all suffering, let's be honest, more than the athletes. The athletes can win a stage maybe and try and take a new contract elsewhere. For all of those staff members, that result will have brought a lot of joy. As Ben O'Connor, at 31 seconds from Hermann Bernsteiner, is the winner of stage 17. Thomas again took just over a minute after providing us with endless entertainment. and the peloton coming home at almost 5 minutes. Signed in here a couple of years ago with a great GC ride until he fell off. Signing out today as a stage winner of the Giro d'Italia. Can Joao Almeida survive 4 more days? 17 seconds for the 22-year-old Portuguese. Wilco Kelderman did not have the goods today. Neither did Hindley, Gegenhardt, Bilbao, Maika, Nibali, Pozzovivo, Conrad. They're all in the top 10.